Again? This dude again? Just in case this is a legitimate request to rejoin the NFL, just in case Colin Kaepernick is actually serious about joining the practice squad of the New York Jets, let me take 1 second here to explain something to Colin Kaepernick. I'm going to make this so abundantly clear that even his feeble mind will be able to understand it. The New York Jets do not want you. The other 31 teams do not want you. The NFL does not want you. NFL fans do not want you. Do you understand? Outside of your family and your pretend friends in the mainstream media, no one wants to see you on the football field. Hell, most of us don't want to see you, period. Go away. Now, I wanted to get that explanation out of the way first, just in case there was a 1% chance that this latest request from Colin Kaepernick was actually legitimate, but we all know it's not. We often talk about gimmicks here on the channel. Gimmicks, they are often used by people when they're not seeing the success they believe they're entitled to based on their talent alone. For example, someone like Vanilla Ice. Rob Van Winkle, he is the classic case of why relying on a gimmick is a horrible strategy for long-term success. Vanilla Ice literally became an overnight success in the early 90s. He steals the beat from Under Pressure, a classic song by Queen. He records Ice Ice Baby. He allows the record company to turn him into a gimmick. They turned him into something that was not authentic. He sells millions of records. He's selling out arenas all over the country. Dude's on top of the world. But what happened when the gimmick became stale? Vanilla Ice disappeared. He was essentially blackballed from the music industry. Through the rest of the 90s, you couldn't find Vanilla Ice. Now, to his credit, and after years and years of personal struggle, Rob Van Winkle, he managed to find success later in life when he dropped the gimmick and started being his authentic self. When Colin Kaepernick started kneeling for the national anthem back in 2016, he was viewed as this woke crusader. I am fighting the good fight. I'm preaching the good word. Some people saw him as someone who was willing to sacrifice their NFL career to bring awareness to a cause. Now, of course, the cause he was fighting for was a complete myth. Once he was blackballed from the NFL, Colin Kaepernick was able to monetize his gimmick. He received multi-million-dollar endorsement deals from Nike. He received publishing deals from book companies where they pretended Colin was an author when the book was actually written by someone else. I mean, this dude can't read a book, much less write one. For years, he has found a way to keep his brand in the mainstream. Anytime the gimmick was starting to become stale, he relied on his pretend friends in the mainstream media to promote the lie that he actually wanted to get back into the NFL. When that false notion ended up being squashed by NFL owners, he produces a Netflix documentary where he compares the NFL to modern-day slavery. He ends up suing the league, claiming they were discriminating against him and other minorities. In this lawsuit, this is where the hypocrisy of Colin Kaepernick was really exposed. During a lawsuit, there is a process called discovery. This is where both sides present the evidence they found to each other. When the case goes to trial, all that evidence is exposed in open court. If Colin Kaepernick were really fighting to expose discrimination in the NFL, he would want all of this supposed evidence revealed in public court, right? Instead, the NFL offers him a settlement to go the fuck away, and Colin gladly accepts it. That is your woke crusader. That is the guy who is supposedly fighting for the rights of minorities. The truth is, the gimmick of Colin Kaepernick has become stale and he knows it. Problem for him, he doesn't have the mental fortitude to come up with something else to keep his name in the mainstream and to keep those millions of dollars flowing in. So what does he do? He relies on the same tired gimmick of mythical racism. He relies on the same tired gimmick of pretending that he wants to be back in the NFL. Now, let's think about this logically here for a second. If Colin was really serious about getting back into the NFL and all 32 teams were consistently rejecting him, how would he go about getting back into the league? Most serious quarterbacks, they would go play in the CFL. They would go dominate in the XFL or the USFL. They would dedicate themselves to improving their craft. They would make it damn near impossible for NFL teams to not give them a chance. The thing with Colin Kaepernick, he believes that he is entitled to be given another chance. He believes that he is above playing in the XFL or the USFL. 3 weeks ago, Aaron Rodgers, he goes down on the first drive of the season, done for the year. Aaron Rodgers, he hasn't even lifted his ass off the turf, and race baiters like Jemele Hill are already pushing for the Jets to sign Colin Kaepernick. Now, of course, Jemele Hill is just using Colin Kaepernick for her own financial gain. The only way that she can make money on Twitter is by talking about mythical racism. Smelly Jemele, she can actually sympathize with Colin Kaepernick because they have both been blackballed from their respective industries. After years of embarrassing failure, Spotify finally decided to stop donating sympathy money to Jemele Hill. How many media companies are begging for the exclusive rights to her shitty podcast? None. Last week, Colin Kaepernick, he sends a private letter to the New York Jets front office. Now, I'm not going to bore you to death by reading it to you, but you can check it out for yourself. Now, as you can see, this letter was obviously not written by Colin Kaepernick. I mean, this is someone who thinks a verb is a vegetable. He thinks a pronoun is a choice you make when you get your driver's license. He explains in this letter all the supposed benefits that he could offer to the New York Jets. He pretends to be humbling himself by being willing to join the practice squad. He says he wants to be a mentor to Zack Wilson, which I would imagine that Zack Wilson's parents were immediately concerned by that offer. I have yet to meet the parents who want Colin Kaepernick indoctrinating their child. Now, there are obvious reasons why signing Colin Kaepernick to the practice squad would be a disastrous idea for the Jets. One, he's a distraction. The Jets are located in the biggest media market in the country. Zack Wilson. There's just no other way to say this. Zack Wilson sucks, all right? I mean, the kid sucks. He's not respected in the locker room. He's an unmitigated disaster on the field. Zack Wilson is the NFL equivalent to a huge embarrassing failure. But let's say the kid has a bad game, which there is a 100% likelihood of that happening. What is the very first question the New York City media is going to ask head coach Robert Saleh? When are you going to start Colleen? Never. Number two, why would the Jets waste their time and money by signing a gimmick? This dude is 36 years old. At this point, everyone knows that Colin Kaepernick is no longer an NFL caliber player. This is not the pretend world that the woke media thinks we're living in. The NFL is not the land of rainbows and woke wieners. This is reality. This is the most competitive league in the world. The margin of error in the NFL is razor thin. Every single roster spot matters. It's important, whether it's the practice squad or the 53-man roster. Why in the hell would the Jets waste a spot on someone they know doesn't have the ability to help the team? Not only that, Colin Kaepernick would be an absolute cancer in the locker room. I also think it's ironic that Kaepernick has spent the last few years claiming that the NFL is modern-day slavery, yet here he is begging an NFL team to be his oppressor. This letter was written on September 21st. It wasn't released publicly until yesterday afternoon. Now, obviously, I take that to mean that the New York Jets rejected Colin Kaepernick's offer, but why do you think this letter was released to the public? Colin Kaepernick, he didn't release it himself. He contacted someone with a much larger platform. He contacted J. Cole to release the letter. Well, KC, who is J. Cole? J. Cole is a rapper. Many view him as the greatest rapper of this generation, which that's not really saying much since most of these modern day rappers aren't qualified to be gift rappers. If they're not displaying their lack of rap skills, they're posting pictures on Instagram where they're dressed like Bob Dylan Mulvaney. So why would Colin Kaepernick contact his pretend friend and ask him to publicize this letter through social media? Why would he do that? Just think about it. If he were really serious about getting back into the NFL, would he want to weaponize the media to demonize an NFL team for not giving him a chance? I mean, that doesn't sound very productive, right? If you're trying to get back into the league, why would you do something that you know would piss them off? You guys are smart. We all know the truth here. This ghost written letter had nothing to do with Colin Kaepernick getting back into the NFL. This was all about sympathy and publicity. This was about squeezing the last bit of life out of this painfully stale gimmick. Colin Kaepernick is desperately clinging to his final minutes of fame. This was about furthering his own brand. This was about trying to revive the business of mythical racism. When is the last time you heard about Colin Kaepernick signing an endorsement deal? When is the last time you heard about his latest money-making venture? New year, same story. Colin Kaepernick falls out of the headlines. People start to forget about him. And here we go again with him pretending to want back into the NFL. Every single time he does this, the mainstream media bites into the shit sandwich. He knew what he was doing with this letter. He knew the mainstream media would sympathize with him and turn him into the ultimate victim. At the end of the letter, Colin Kaepernick included a list of references. This was not a resume, dude. This was a poor attempt to gain publicity. But anyway, one of the names included in this list of references was Mark Davis, owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I found this to be incredibly amusing. If Mark Davis wants to see Colin Kaepernick back in the NFL, why doesn't he offer him a contract? If Mark Davis wants Colin back in the league, why doesn't he give him a tryout? Oh, yeah, he did. It ended in huge embarrassing failure. The gimmick is over. It's over. No one is taking Colin Kaepernick seriously anymore. No one wants you in the NFL, dude. I would rather see the Chiefs give Taylor Swift a tryout before they gave one to Colin Kaepernick. But give me your thoughts. Colin Kaepernick, once again, begging back into the NFL. He begs to join the Jets practice squad. Then he publicizes the letter when they reject him. Is his 15 minutes of fame over? Has the gimmick become stale? Am I the only one who is tired of talking and hearing about Colin Kaepernick? You let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. I appreciate all of you guys and your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.